So I'm going to show you how I beat young Consort Radahn in the Elden Ring DLC. Note that I did use summons, but this build will work without summons. So I'm going to show you what build I used, how I could have made this build even better apparently, and then I'm going to show you what I did in the fight, things to look for, and what you want to do to get him to phase 2 extremely fast, as that's the most important thing to beating Radahn with this build. And I'm also going to show you which attacks to pick your attack window in. So let's get right to it. So the talismans are where I could have improved this build a lot, so I'm going to show you those in a second. But I use the Blood Fiend's Blood Arm. I'm not the one who came up with this build under any circumstances, so I'm not taking credit for it. My friend Ivan, who's an Elden Ring wizard, told me to use this build, and I think he got it off a YouTube video somewhere, so I'm by no means the person who came up with this. But I use the Blood Fiend's Blood Arm, maxed it out. You're going to need the regular Smithing Stones to do that. It causes blood loss buildup of 220, and I use the Craig Blade Ash of War with it. So during the fight, I use Malekith's armor just because I like the way it looks, and I haven't really gravitated towards using armors for any advantage at this point, but I should have really used the white mask, which will improve bleed, and then really use whatever armor you want on top of that. For talismans, here's where I could have improved the build quite a bit. I should have used Lord of Blood's Exaltation in one of my talisman slots. Now, I think the Haladrake talisman is important because he does holy damage, and you need holy damage negation. But I would have probably swapped out either the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman or the Erdtree's Favor in favor of the Lord of Blood's Exaltation for the bleed damage. You need the Axe Talisman because it enhances charge attacks, and that's going to be your MO in this fight, is charge attacks. For your physic, I used the Spiked Crack Tier, which boosts charge attack power. Again, the main attack you're going to use to stagger him is a charged attack. And then the Stone Barb Crack Tier, which makes it easier to stagger enemies. Again, staggering him is how we're going to beat him. It's the most important thing in this fight. And then, if you want, you can use the Mimic Tier. I maxed mine out. And then use the Raw Meat Dumplings so your Mimic Tier can heal themselves if you really need to. Or these also come in great handy in a pinch, even if you don't use a Mimic Tier, because if you run out of all of your flasks and you're low, pop a Raw Meat Dumpling, it will poison you, but it will restore half your HP. So if you have Radahn like one hit, pop a Raw Meat Dumpling, boom, you're back to half HP, and then hit him, and he's done. Alright, so that's the build, and now we're going to get into the actual fight. Okay, so when you walk up to the fight, you're going to pop your Ash of War, and then you're going to pop your Physic. You can also pop Golden Vow or whatever other buffs you want here, but really I just like to get into the fight quick because buffs have a limited amount of time on them. And then what's going to happen is usually he's going to do the attack where he lunges at you right away. Here it's delayed for some reason, but he does this attack. After he does this attack, very important, get a fully charged hit in. You have to fully charge it. Don't let go of R2. Fully charge the hit, otherwise you won't stagger on the next hit. Boom. And then if he does that attack, like this, that means you can get another fully charged attack in usually, unless he spams a quick attack for some reason. And then you can tank the hit. That's what I usually do, is I like to tank the hit on if he does a quick attack after that, and then he's staggered. You usually almost always stagger in 2 hits when you have the buffs applied and when you have your Ash of War popped. And then from there, it's just dodge, 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 hit, dodge, dodge, hit, hit, until you get him to phase 2. This attack here, by the way, you can dodge this attack if you jump while you're running horizontally. Here, I jumped too early, so I get hit, but you'll see later in the fight, I dodged this attack perfectly by jumping. Jumping is a lot easier than trying to roll dodge that, by the way, because you have iframes while jumping as well. You can also dodge that, by the way, and that, but I did it very poorly here. Almost all of his phase 1 attacks are completely dodgeable. And again, he does the double, so I'm going to punish him with a hit here, and the next hit should be bleed. Now here I'm getting too greedy. I'm looking for a window to punish, and I get it right here, but I took too much damage because I was getting too greedy. Now, here, immediately when you start the second phase, if you're going to pop your Mimic Tier, you either do it here, or if you have to heal, you heal up right here. And then you heal up, and you sprint out of the circle Radahn is about to spawn in. And then once you sprint out of the circle he's spawning in, you pop your Mimic Tier while it explodes. Like I do right here. Heal up, sprint out of the circle, jump here to get out, make sure I have the iframes while jumping, and then, boom, Mimic Tier. I could have dodged that attack there. He usually almost always pops that after the explosion, that one attack, but I didn't do it there. And then I didn't dodge this grab, I just spam dodged like an idiot. Fuck you. My Mimic Tear is getting some damage in the background, which every bit of damage that Mimic Tear can do, it might seem insignificant, but it's important because it enables me to proc bleed on next hit, or me to enable him to proc bleed on his next hit. So every little bit of damage that Mimic Tear is doing is extremely important, actually. I dodged that attack there. Well, actually dodged this grab. The fight would have been lost if I would have got grabbed there. I dodged that attack finally there. This attack, by the way, where he teleports towards you, I'm not sure the best way to dodge it. I've tried dodging it horizontally, and then I get slapped. I found the best way is to just dodge towards him, and you end up dodging 1 or 2 or 3 of his hits, but you do tank a little bit of damage. And again, if you have like holy damage negation on your armor, which I didn't have here, if you have, you know, a better armor, you might be able to tank those attacks a lot better. But I'm basically just using this armor because lol, it looks cool. This attack where he shoots down towards Earth, it's most important to dodge the initial impact because you're most definitely probably going to take damage on the second explosion right there. And then again, heal up, and that was my last flask. Now, I forgot that I had those raw meat dumplings, which I could have used, again, when I got low here. But I ended up not using them because, again, you have a limited supply of them. But if you're ever going to use them when he's low like this. But the raw meat dumplings, again, are for your Mimic Tear to be able to heal. And then I get a hit in here. I was hoping it would proc bleed. It didn't. And then here's where I die. And then the Mimic Tear actually procs bleed because I had just hit him. I'm pretty confident I would have beat him without the Mimic Tear very soon, as I was getting him to phase 2 like 80% of the time, only like 45-50 minutes into fighting him with this build, and I got him to like a quarter HP or 1 hit several times in that hour, so I was getting close either way, but I was a little bit salty, I'm not gonna lie, that the Mimic Tear got the last hit in there. But again, without the Mimic Tear, this build is still extremely strong. So with this build that I used, I actually could have made it better again with Lord of Blood's Exaltation, the White Mask, and armor that has really good Holy Faith damage negation. But I beat him still without all of that because I had the Mimic Tear. But if you're not going to run with the Mimic Tear, I would definitely recommend Lord of Blood's Exaltation, the White Mask, and getting armor that has good Faith negation, because that's going to make it a lot easier. And again, I'm not claiming this is the best build in the game by any means. It's just the build that I used, the build that was shown to me by my friend, who's a wizard at the game that I trust. And again, he told me after, oh yeah, Chris, I forgot to tell you, use the White Mask and Lord of Blood's Exaltation. So make sure you use those two. And for the rest of the video here, I'm just going to show you my reaction to beating him and the cutscene, and we're just going to end it on that note. I got it! Wait, did I get it? Did I get it? Did I get it? I got him! Here I was going to message my friends on Discord because I was so pumped. And here's the cutscene. Let me turn the volume up. No, you're not.
If we honor our part of the vow, promise me you'll be my consort.
You can see I'm messaging my friends, by the way. I'm so pumped.
I'll make the world a gentler place.
No, you won't. See, the only thing is that my Mimic Tear is the one who dealt the final blow, man. Like, I would have beat him pretty soon. I was getting him consistently down to, like, 1/4 HP. Don't get me wrong, chat. But, like, I wanted to be the one who dealt the final blow. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna beat him summonless next time I do it.